Welcome to Storytime with Mr. Ramirez. Today's story is Chato's Kitchen by Gary Soto and illustrated by Susan Guevara. Chato, a low-riding cat with 6 stripes, was slinking toward a sparrow when he heard the scrape of tiny feet coming from the yard next door. Left, right, left, right. Chato's ears perked up. His tail began to swing to the rhythm. He felt the twinge of mambo in his hips. The movement frightened the sparrow, who shot off into a tree. No problema, homeboy, Chato said to himself, and followed his nose to the fence. Through the narrow slats, his eyes grew big as he spied 5 mice the color of gray river rock. His whiskers vibrated with pleasure, and he leaped onto the fence for a closer view. Yes, it was a whole family of fat, juicy mice moving into the house next door. Chato raked his tongue over his lips and meowed a deep, growling meow. Meow. The mice froze with their belongings on their backs. They began to shiver like leaves in the wind. Chato was the tallest cat they had ever seen. Orale, neighbors, Chato purred. Don't be scared of me. I'm a cool, low-riding cat. The mice dropped their things and scattered. No, de veras, hombres, I'm okay, Chato reassured, but the yard was empty. Another meow rumbled in his stomach, just barely suppressed. Meow. Chato thought for a moment as he stabbed his face into his furry shoulder and chewed the daylights out of a bothersome flea. Aha, he thought, I'll invite them for dinner. Chato jumped down from the fence and returned to his house. On a piece of fine paper he wrote, Chato welcomes you to the barrio and invites your tasty family for a surprise dinner tonight at 6 o'clock. Chato immediately saw his error and changed tasty to lovely. He folded the invitation into a paper airplane and tossed it over the fence. The airplane spiraled down on a parachute of wind, and Papi Mouse read it out loud. Should we go? Mommy Mouse asked. Why not? Papi said. That Chato cat seems muy simpático. Very nice, I'm sure. But isn't Chorizo coming over tonight? Mommy asked. Híjole, that's right, Papi said. A friend from the old neighborhood was due over for dinner. They called him chorizo, or sausage, because, well, that's the kind of guy he was. After much talk, Papi wrote back, Many thanks, mil gracias. We're coming, and we'd like to bring a friend, okay? Oh, sure, Chato shouted over the fence. A friend of a friend is a friend, que no? He couldn't believe his luck. Instead of just 5 mice, there would be 6. Chato pranced off to the kitchen to rattle his pots and pans. Whistling La Bamba, he took out beans for frijoles. Perfect for mice. Then ripe avocados for guacamole. Very nice. And he checked for some arroz because, of course, we need rice. As he was piling ingredients on the table, the doorbell rang. It was Chato's best friend, Novio Boy, a cat with soft green eyes, sleek fur, and the loveliest growl in the barrio. Novio Boy also wore the flashiest cat collar, a leather one with real gems that sparkled at night when cars passed in the street. Yo, ¿Qué quiere vis los Holmes? He purred. What you doing? I'm having mice for dinner, served with the works. Help me with las tortillas." The guys got to work. While Chato rolled out the tortillas with a rolling pin, Novio Boy placed them on a hot griddle, careful not to burn his paws. He flipped them over when one side was baked until both sides were perfect. All afternoon they worked away in the kitchen. They cooked the beans and made salsa, not too spicy for the guests, and a large pitcher of tamarindo. They made fajitas, enchiladas, carne asada, chile rellenos, and finally a sweet, smooth flan. While the cats were busy in Chato's kitchen, the mice were settling into their new home. They had set up a bottle cap for a bathtub, a chip of glass for a mirror, and their matchbox beds all in a line. But they still remembered, as the sun began to drop behind the trees, that they should take a dish to Chato's house. What did they make? Quesadillas, of course, featuring their favorite ingredient, cheese. Soon Chorizo arrived, and the mice danced in the shadow of their long, skinny, low-riding friend. They told him about the party at Chato's house. "Okay, ratoncitos, little mice, it's time to go to the fiesta." So they climbed onto Chorizo's back, where they clung to his short fur. As if in a limousine, they cruised out of their jungly yard and around the picket fence to Chato's place. Chato and Novio Boy were in the living room grooming themselves for the party. After 5 hours of cooking, they were so hungry that each time a bird swooped past the window, their gray eyes grew narrow and their mouths watered. When they heard a rap on the door, they grinned at each other. It was like delivery service with mice instead of pizza. "We brought chorizo," Mommy Mouse called. "Sausage!" Chato and Novio Boy danced, and with clean paws they gave each other a low four. "We can have chorizo con mice," Novio Boy grinned. But when they opened the door, Chato and Novio Boy were facing a low, road-scraping dog with a barrio of mice on its back. "We're here!" shouted one of the little ones. The cool cats didn't say anything. They didn't hiss or swat the air. They ran and cowered under the dining table. Chorizo wagged into the house, his belly bumping over the threshold. He click-clacked on paw nails into the kitchen, his nose picking up the smells of simmering food. He shivered the mice from his back, and they dropped like gray fruit. "Hola!" Chorizo barked politely. Chato and Novio Boy scampered from under the table and leaped up on the curtains, where they meowed for their lives. "What are you doing up there?" Mommy Mouse asked. "Don't tell me you're scared of Chorizo. Mira, he's a nice dog." Chorizo wagged his tail and let his tongue fall out. Chato and Novio Boy looked at each other. They slid from the curtains and, fur raised, greeted Chorizo with a cautious meow. Slowly, everyone took their seats. "Salud!" toasted Chorizo. "To your health!" "Salud," Chato agreed forlornly. He was not going to eat any guests tonight. But still, he figured, it was a pretty good meal they'd rattled from their pots and pans. After all, it came from Chato's kitchen. Hope you enjoyed the story. See you next time.